Hey there, coin lovers. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of Australian currency, focusing on two unique and collectible coins, the 1995 Australian $1 and the 2017 Australian $1. Each coin tells its own story, from historical events and special designs to mintage numbers and collector demand. Whether you're a seasoned numismatist or just curious about what makes some coins worth more than others, this video will give you all the details you need. So grab your magnifying glass, settle in, and let's explore the secrets, value, and history behind these two remarkable Australian coins. Alright, first up, let's talk about the 1995 Australian $1 coin. A piece that might look pretty ordinary at first glance, but when you know the story behind it, you realize it's actually a little slice of Aussie history you can hold in your hand. The Australian $1 coin has been around since 1984, replacing the old paper $1 note. By 1995, the coin had been in circulation for over a decade, and people were already starting to notice the little variations and changes in the designs over the years. The 1995 issue, in particular, carries a lot of charm for collectors, especially those who love chasing after specific minting years. So, what makes the 1995 version interesting? First off, the design. On the obverse, that's the head side, you've got the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf. It's a very refined, almost regal image of a queen, and it was used on Australian coins from 1985 to 1998. If you're familiar with Aussie coins, you'll know this is the version where the queen is wearing the royal diadem with a slight smile, and it's a very clean, well-balanced portrait. On the reverse, the tail side, you've got the classic 5 kangaroos design by Stuart Devlin. This design has become so iconic that it's practically a national symbol at this point. The detail in the kangaroos is worth appreciating. The different poses show movement and energy, which really makes the coin come alive. Devlin was known as the designer of coins in Australia, and his work is still loved by collectors all over the world. Now, here's where the collector side of things comes in. The 1995 $1 coin had a mintage of around 43 million, which is a decent number, so they're not exactly rare in the sense of being hard to find. However, finding them in uncirculated or mint condition, without scratches, dents, or wear, is where the real challenge begins. Coins from this year were struck at both the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra and the Perth Mint for collector sets. The circulation strikes were meant for everyday use, while the proof and mint sets were aimed at collectors. The proof coins, in particular, have that beautiful mirror-like finish with frosted details, and those are the ones that can command higher prices. So, how much is a 1995 Australian $1 worth today? Well, in average circulated condition, it's usually just face value $1, maybe a little more, if it's in really nice shape. But if you manage to get one in uncirculated condition straight from a mint set, you might see prices ranging from $5 to 15 Australian dollars, depending on the buyer and the market. And if we're talking about a proof version, those can go for $20 to 40 Australian dollars, or even more if they're still in the original packaging. Now, one thing to keep in mind is error coins. Some collectors are always on the lookout for minting errors like off-center strikes, double strikes, or die cracks. While 1995 isn't known for a huge number of famous errors, it's always worth checking your coins closely. Even a small die crack or slightly rotated die can make a coin far more valuable than its face value. Another thing that makes the 1995 coin interesting is its place in the timeline of Australian currency design. Just a few years later, in 1999, the portrait of the Queen was updated to the Ian Rank Broadley design, which has a noticeably different look. That means the 1995 coin sits toward the end of the Raphael Maklauf era, giving it a certain nostalgic appeal for some collectors. If you're a casual coin hunter, you might find a $1,995 in your change even today, but it's getting less common. As coins wear out, get damaged, or are lost, the number of older dates in circulation keeps dropping. That's why collectors often advise people to keep an eye on their loose change now, because in a few more years, these older coins will be much harder to spot. From a design perspective, there's something quite timeless about the 5 kangaroos. It's one of those coin designs that never really feels dated. It's distinctly Australian, and it carries a sense of movement that makes the coin feel dynamic. When you pair that with the Maklauf portrait of the Queen, you've got a coin that's both traditional and lively, which is probably why so many people still appreciate it today. One thing you might not know is that the Australian $1 coin is made from aluminium bronze. That's 92% copper, 6% aluminium, and 2% nickel. This gives it that golden color, but it also makes it quite durable for everyday use. It's 25 millimeters in diameter and weighs 9 grams, which is actually a bit heavier than most coins of similar size from other countries. If you've ever held one, you'll know it feels solid, like it's built to last. In the world of numismatics, that's coin collecting for those new to the hobby. Context matters. So, while the 1995 Australian $1 might not be a rare coin in the strict sense, it's part of a larger story. For example, if you were putting together a year set of Australian coins from 1995, you'd need this coin in good condition. Year sets are popular among collectors because they let you see all the coins from a specific year, and finding them all in top condition can be tricky. And then there's the sentimental side. For someone who was born in 1995, this coin could have personal value as a birth year collectible. People often give birth year coins as gifts for birthdays or anniversaries, and when they're in nice condition, they make a thoughtful and lasting keepsake. In recent years, there's also been more interest from international collectors. Australian coins have a certain charm and appeal, especially to people in countries where kangaroos are exotic and fascinating. So, even though the 1995 $1 isn't one of those sell it and retire coins, it still has a steady demand in the collector market. To sum it up, the 1995 Australian $1 coin is a sturdy, golden-toned reminder of mid-90s Australia, with a classic kangaroo design, a regal queen's portrait, and a story that connects everyday currency to the world of collecting. Whether you find one in your change or buy one from a coin dealer, it's a nice piece to add to any collection, especially if you can snag it in uncirculated or proof condition. Next up, we've got the 2017 Australian $1 coin, and while it might be much newer than the 1995 issue we just talked about, it's got its own interesting features, varieties, and little details that make it worth discussing. By 2017, the Australian $1 coin had been in circulation for over 3 decades, and the design had already become a familiar part of everyday life. But here's where it gets fun. Coins from this year aren't just another kangaroo dollar. In fact, 2017 has a few quirks that make it stand out for collectors, even if they're not considered ultra-rare. Let's start with the design side of things. On the obverse, the heads, we still have Queen Elizabeth II, but by this point, the portrait had changed from the Raphael Maklauf version used in 1995 to the Ian Rank Broadley portrait. This version of the Queen is noticeably different. The facial features are more realistic and less stylized than Maklauf's design, with a slightly more mature depiction of Her Majesty. You can see more detail in the hair, and the portrait has a fuller, more natural look overall. On the reverse, the tails, we still see Stuart Devlin's iconic 5 kangaroo design. It's the same layout as it's been since the 1980s, but every time the Royal Australian Mint strikes a new batch, you get tiny variations due to wear and tear on the dies or small adjustments in production process. Sharp-eyed collectors sometimes hunt for these subtle changes. Now here's where 2017 gets interesting. This year saw a few different minting outputs for the $1 coin. Of course, you've got your regular circulation strikes, the coins you'd find in your change, but there were also special mint sets, proof coins, and even some commemorative themed coins released in 2017 for other occasions, though the base kangaroo dollar remained the standard in circulation. The regular 2017 $1 coin had a mintage of tens of millions, so finding one in change isn't difficult. However, as always, the game changes when you're looking for coins in pristine, uncirculated condition. Straight out of a mint roll or collector set, these coins can sell for around $3 to $8 Australian dollars, depending on condition and demand. Proof versions, which have that beautiful frosted design against a mirror-like background, usually sell for $20 to $40 Australian dollars, but prices can go higher for coins still in their original mint packaging. Another point of interest for 2017 is error coins. This is where things can get really exciting for collectors. Off-center strikes, die cracks, or planchet flaws can turn an ordinary dollar into a valuable collectible. In particular, some 2017 coins have been found with rim cuts, raised lumps of extra metal along the rim caused by die damage. These errors can push a coin's value into the $50 to $100 Australian dollars range or more, depending on how dramatic the flaw is and how much collectors want it. It's also worth mentioning that by 2017, the Royal Australian Mint had been producing coins with much more precise quality control compared to the 1980s and 1990s. This means error coins are less common, which ironically makes the ones that do slip through even more desirable. From a historical standpoint, 2017 falls in an interesting era. The world was moving rapidly toward digital payments, contactless cards, smartphone wallets, and online transactions, which meant that physical coins were slowly becoming less common in daily use. While Australia hasn't phased out the $1 coin, the reduced circulation in some areas means that high-grade examples can stay in better condition for longer. Now here's a fun fact. The composition of the $1 coin in 2017 is still aluminium bronze, 92% copper, 6% aluminium, and 2% nickel, just like the 1995 coin. It's the same size and weight, at 25 millimeters across and 9 grams in weight. That means that if you were to hold the 1995 and 2017 coins side by side, the main differences you notice are the obverse portrait of the Queen and the level of wear from circulation. Another thing collectors like about 2017 is that it's part of the Ian Rank Broadley portrait's final years. In 2019, the portrait was replaced with a new one by Jody Clark, so 2017 coins are among the last to carry Rank Broadley's design. Some collectors enjoy putting together portrait-era sets, for example, collecting one coin from every year of the Rank Broadley portrait period, 1999 to 2019. Speaking of collecting, birth year sets are still popular. For someone born in 2017, a pristine $1 coin from that year makes a nice keepsake. The Royal Australian Mint even released official baby year sets in 2017, which included proof and uncirculated versions of the dollar coin, packaged with special designs and certificates. Market value-wise, the standard 2017 $1 coin in circulated condition isn't going to make you rich. It's still worth $1 Australian for spending. But in high uncirculated grades like MS65 and above in coin grading terms, you start to see more collector interest. At that point, it's all about the quality of the strike, the shine of the surfaces, and the absence of scratches or marks. For the average coin hunter, finding a 2017 $1 coin in your change might not seem exciting at first, but it's worth checking for those tiny details. A rotated die, a doubled letter, or a small metal flaw can mean you've got something special. And because 2017 is relatively recent, coins in near-mint condition still pop up quite often in circulation, making it a great year for beginner collectors to look out for. From a design appreciation angle, the 2017 $1 is a great example of how Australia has managed to keep a consistent, recognizable coin design for decades without it becoming stale. The kangaroos are just as lively and detailed as ever, and Rank Broadley's portrait gives the obverse a polished, dignified look. Together, they create a coin that feels familiar, yet still collectible. So to wrap this one up, the 2017 Australian $1 coin might not be a headline-grabbing rarity, but it's a solid piece for collectors, especially in high grades or with interesting errors. Whether you're building a year-by-year set, collecting by portrait era, or just searching your change for something shiny and unusual, this coin is worth keeping an eye out for. And who knows, you might just find that perfect uncirculated example that becomes the highlight of your collection.